Welcome back to Real Boring Flips. In this episode, we're going to talk about what sold in April. And we didn't quite have a full month. We were still on vacation, but I did turn my store back on just about a week into April, even though we weren't back yet. So we're going to talk about everything that sold in the shortened April that we had. We did have 38 sales, and after paying to ship items, we came back with $2,550. So still respectable for us. We would like to be bringing home at least $2,500 a month, but really where our sales numbers was about double that. So we're shooting to get back to our level of sales that we had prior to leaving on vacation in March. And it's a little bit of an uphill climb. Realistically, what would be great for us is to have 3 sales a day. And between our main store and our second store, which I think next month, the figures for May, we'll start incorporating some of the May sales from our second store in this video. So far, you haven't seen any of those. But we've got some great sales, so I want to share some of that with you as well. And the reason we have 2 stores is simply to kind of spread our risk out, build up a second store that we can rely on in case we ever have an issue with our main store. And also it allows us to build up our listings. Now, we have a ton of listings that should probably be dumped, but at this point in time, I just don't have time to continually go through that when we have tons of stuff that we're still trying to list, and some great stuff has come in. So it's such a balance. The fun part obviously is always going out and getting stuff. The real work is in getting that stuff listed and then sold. So we're going to work on that. In a little bit, we'll jump over to the other desk. We'll go through everything we sold, and then we'll come back here afterwards to close up the video. But I did want to thank you for watching. If this kind of content is stuff that you enjoy, would you please consider liking the video and also subscribing to the channel if you're not a subscriber. That really helps as we try and build this channel up from where we are. Even the channel struggled through our month off. So trying to get back to a normal schedule. And we're doing more thrifting videos now too. So I think people enjoy that more. I like watching thrifting videos probably more than what sold videos. But I do like to share things about what we bought, why we bought them, what we sold them for, and little nuggets of information that can help you if you want to become a reseller. So we're going to take care of that. And I think last month I teased you about an amazing, one of the craziest things I've ever sold. So we're going to talk about that too. And but I know, as always, you didn't come here for that. You came here to find out what is Kevin enjoying. And today I've got a real banger for you. It's a lot of words that aren't English, but essentially there's a tea and some boba. Boba, not Bobo, not Jake Bobo, but boba, tea, and gelatina. So we're going to see how our gelatina tastes. I think it's going to be good. Well, I haven't gotten the gelatina yet, so it's probably all at the bottom. But this is a aloe vera and lychee. So lychee is really, really tasty. Good taste. It's very sweet. There's a lot of calories in this too. Let me give you the fact. 1 serving, 180 calories. So there's some sweet in there. Okay, so we're going to jump over, and then when we're all done over there, come back and we'll end this video.
Sennheiser is a great brand to look for depending on what it is. I've sold many different sets of cordless Sennheiser headphones, with the receiver, and you plug those into your system, your TV or whatever, and then you enjoy the sounds in your headset while everyone around you doesn't have to hear the TV blaring because you can't hear anymore. In this case, these were a really nice pair. They appeared to be, or they were in new condition. The packaging was a little jacked up and clearly sold over Amazon or through Amazon. But I was able to remove the item, confirm everything was new, and repackage it so that it was in the original packaging. I paid $15 for these at Goodwill, and I got my full asking of $64.88, or for the sake of the video, $65 plus shipping. This model, I think I got this at an estate or a garage sale years ago. It was sealed F-15 fighter jet. I probably paid about $5 for it. I took an offer at $20. I took an offer at $20 about 2 days after the F-15 was shot down in Iran and the pilot was being searched for. Somebody obviously felt the need to build the model immediately. I love Hewlett-Packard stuff. I have a ton of Hewlett-Packard calculators. My first calculator when I was in school, in engineering school, was an HP 41CX. These back in the day, HP was an awesome brand. The only place to go for calculators with RPN, reverse Polish notation. I don't even know how to use calculators, regular calculators. This was a little handheld Windows CE, if you remember that. If you're old enough to remember Windows CE, little handheld computer, basically. I got this at Goodwill. I didn't have a way to power it up to test it. So I sold it. I think I sold it as parts, or at least untested. I took an offer at $68. I paid $10 for this. HP is awesome. You hear me talk about juicers. I talk about juicers and talk about juicers. You're probably tired of me talking about juicers. I pay $2. When I buy juicers, I pay $2 for them at Goodwill on discount day. And this was a set of 3 feet for the base of a juicer, of a Hamilton Beach juicer. Those were pretty good. Those Hamilton Beach ones are pretty good because they have a lot of parts that are resellable. And I got my full asking of $688 plus shipping for 3 rubber feet. I just got another one of these juicers, and the person that gave it to Goodwill or donated it to Goodwill actually put the feet inside. So I have the feet from the pulp bin, and I have the feet from the juicer itself. So those will be listed soon. Okay, this is one of the craziest items I've ever sold on eBay in 27 years of selling on eBay. I bought a bookshelf of computer books, and there was some packaged software, a lot of Microsoft stuff. So this woman was basically a software developer for Microsoft. She worked on Microsoft Project for Windows and for Macintosh. And I think I paid $5 for this lot. And this was just in a box. It had like the bottom 5 or 6 inches of this box had water damage. So I didn't even know it was in the box. It was heavy. I put it in the stuff when I took my purchase. And inside was this Lucite Microsoft Project Ship It Award. And it had the letter about the award. It had all the little pieces and parts. You should look this up on eBay sales. Look this up. The pictures are crazy. I'll put a couple of them in there. It even included a nail to hang your award. Crazy. I looked and looked and looked. The only one I could find on eBay past sales was about Windows 95. So I figured that's probably much more valuable than this Microsoft Project Award. But I still listed mine at $250 plus shipping. And wouldn't you know it, I got a full price purchase of my Project Award. So my $5 investment so far, I'm nearing $500 in sales, and I have a ton of great stuff to go. Never pass up awesome computer stuff. Okay, I keep talking about Hot Wheels. I keep selling Hot Wheels, but I am not a Hot Wheels guy. This was kind of a cool set, though. This was probably one of the better ones I did buy. This was a custom series. So last month I sold a Carroll Shelby car, just a car in it by itself in a package, and I said that I wouldn't buy those again. This is the kind of stuff that I would buy. I paid $12 for this, and I got a offer of $59 plus shipping, and I took it. This is really the kind of stuff I like to buy if I'm buying cars. Okay, here's where I announce that I think I just sold my wife's baseball mitt. Years ago, when my son was playing Little League and my daughter would go to the games with us, we decided we would get baseball mitts so we could play catch with our kids. My wife is a southpaw, so this is a lefty Dale Murphy glove. I think this was hers. So sorry, honey. I know you're listening to this. I apologize. If you want another mitt, I will go buy you one. I don't remember what I paid. I'm sure I paid more than we sold this for. But I got the full price $30 plus shipping. A lot of times I buy stuff, I'll buy a whole lot of camera stuff because I want 2 or 3 of the cameras, and then it comes with a whole bunch of stuff. And what do you do with that? So I dig through it and I look for anything that I think might be valuable or might be desirable. And these German-made tripods, these compact tripods, I will list. This one took a long time, but I finally got a full price $20 plus shipping purchase. I probably had less than $1 into this. I wouldn't buy this just to sell on eBay. And I wouldn't buy these to sell on eBay either because they're so plentiful. You don't need to buy a brand new one. There's a million of these out there. This Pioneer 6-disc magazine. I have a ton of these magazines that just I've gotten over the years. I don't know why I bought this one. I literally bought this one at Goodwill for $4. I don't know what I was thinking. I took an offer at $8 just to get rid of it. So last month you heard me talk about selling stuff out of the Sony bin. I just going through my garage, I found a tote full of some Sony stuff. A couple of Sony CD players, some speakers. Here's another set of speakers. I'm glad I went through that because these things are really desirable. I took an offer at $21. I probably had $1 or $2 into these speakers, so I'm glad to see them move along. So Wolfgang Puck can be good. In this case, this is probably the best part of this is the Bistro, so pretty heavy duty food processor. These are beasts. I would not recommend buying these to resell. I've never sold one of the motors. I think I've had 3 of them now, and I just sell the pieces and parts. In this case, I sold the stem and blade, full price, $20 plus shipping, and I paid $2 for the whole thing. So I've got the bowl, I've got the blade, I've got the stem, I got the lid, I got the pusher, and I still have the motor, but those are never going to sell. This thing came back undeliverable, and it sat here for a few days. I forgot about it. Then I noticed that my buyer had filed a item not delivered. So normally, this is what I suggest to people that buy stuff on eBay. If you have any problems, contact your seller. Send a message instead of just immediately filing a claim. So in this case, very similar to last month where I had a radio, a Sangean radio, undeliverable and returned to me. In this case, I called eBay, talked to a customer service person and said, hey, what's the situation with this? Because it came back to me. And in the claim, my buyer said, hey, we gave you the wrong address. Here's the right address. I think they just assumed I would just ship it to them. Well, that's money out of my pocket for this $20 item that I paid $2 for. So I called eBay. What do? This is what they suggested. Contact your buyer. Tell them to please close the claim, and so you can give them a partial refund. So I would refund them the $20. They're out on the shipping. And then I can relist the item, and if they want to buy it, they can buy it. Similar to my radio person from last month. That's what she did all on her own. She didn't file any claims. So I responded to them, sent them a message, said, hey, please do this. This is what eBay told me. You can contact them if you want. Please do that. Now, eBay also told me, if you don't hear back, call us at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 9th of May. Now, today's the 8th. I got my date screwed up. I called them this morning, and they said, oh, you got to wait till tomorrow. So I sent them another message based on eBay guidance. Hey, please close this case so I can refund you. My only option right now would be to do a full refund, which I'm not going to do on this item. But let me know what you would do. Now, a lot of people would just say, hey, just do it. You got the item back. Well, that eats up all of my profit on this item if I refund them for their shipping. And they're not too far away from me, so I don't think the shipping was too bad. So tomorrow morning, I'm not going to get up at 5 a.m. Washington State time to call eBay, but I'm going to get up fairly early, normal time, call eBay and see if I can get them to officially step in and close this. Then I can refund the buyer and just be done with it. But let me know what you would do in a situation like this. It's very weird. I don't understand. I guess I have a hard time understanding people who are buying stuff on eBay who don't understand this. Okay, I think I talked about one of these the last time I sold one of these. These are not cameras I buy anymore. I paid about $10 for this camera from Goodwill. Now they're about $12 to $15. Just too high of a price to pay for a camera. I'm only going to sell for about $27.88, $28. And every once in a while I get one of these that doesn't work. The winder doesn't work. The shutter button doesn't work. I don't even buy these anymore. I don't even look at them, to be honest. Okay, so I watched this Kebab It. I love these 1970s weirdo kitchen gadgets. I mean, can you imagine doing your Kebab It in your olive kitchen, hanging out, with your friends, cooking your kebabs. This I saw this on the shelf at Goodwill. Thought it was pretty cool. I was not going to pay $25 for it, but I thought it was cool. And then I watched it do the slow descent down to $2, and I grabbed it for $2. I was happy to get it for $2. And I checked it out. It looked pretty good. There was one of the kebabs had a little bit of damage. It touched the burner, so it melted a little bit, but it was fine. Everything worked, and I hadn't listed it. And then I was watching an episode of Flipping Junk, and I saw Wick talk about this Kebab It. And so I immediately listed mine, sold relatively quickly for my asking price of $40 plus shipping. I paid $2 for this. Awesome. I love that stuff. Thanks, Wick. Okay, last month you heard me talk about Connects. I had sold a mini micro set, but I mentioned that I had a way of selling the standard sizes. So I get these things in bulk, and what I decided to do was I would sell just a selection of the standard pieces, standard colors, standard pieces. And if I have a case, I'll include them in a case. So in this case, I had a case, and I didn't count all these, but what I did was for each, like say the red rod, if you're familiar with Connects, I counted up so many of those, and then I weighed them by grams. And so I counted all the pieces, weighed them by grams, and I said, okay, this is about 1,500 pieces. And then I took all the rest of the parts that I had, and I weighed packages. So I have tons of packages of the red rods or the yellow rods or the gray rods. I have all these weighed out so that as these sell, I will create a new list, keep the listing and just restock the item. That's how I'm doing this from now on. Now I have the specialty pieces, and I have the specialty colors, the bendable pieces. Those I haven't dealt with yet. Right now I'm just doing this custom, the standard pieces. And in this case, at this point I have very little into these, less than $20. I got a full price $90 plus shipping on this item. And I've got 2 more sets listed right now. I had 2 other cases, so I just created 3 listings altogether. But as these sell, I'll just build new listings with the same amount, same weights, same packages, everything. That's how I'm doing connects at this point. Let me know how you do connects if you sell connects. My kids love these things. Like I mentioned last time, they might have ended in tears and blood, but they loved them. Okay, this was an awesome pickup. I did have a video of picking this up, but my camera had died before I actually pulled these out of the new cart that came out. I was not familiar with Dice Throne games, but these 3 games came out plus a set of figures, and I decided to go ahead and buy them. They were complete. I counted everything when I got home. The 3 sets were complete. I paid $90 altogether, listed them, and within a couple of days I sold them for my full asking of $330. That was awesome. I love that when you can buy something and sell it within days for great profit. This was another great item I also got for $2. I watched it do the slow descent down to $2, and I took an offer for $20. But what was unique about this was I didn't have the little tray that your meat was supposed to fall onto when you sliced it, and so I listed it without that. And then just before I had this offer come in, I was at a random estate sale. I noticed they had the slicer, and I looked, and there was the tray. So I just took the tray. It just went into my pile of stuff. I didn't really pay anything for the tray. And before I even got home to update my listing, I got this offer. They asked about the tray, and I said, well, I actually do have the tray. And so it worked out perfectly. The timing was perfect. I had $2 into this. I got $20. That's my times 10. That's where I don't want to go below times 10 if I can help it. So I didn't help it on this one. I bought this years ago. You can tell based on the red background of this listing. My son's baby blanket, red background. I thought this was cool. Turns out I was the only one. This was a little 3D viewer, National Geographic 3D viewer with these cartridges. I think it was just way too expensive compared to Viewmaster. I don't know how long I had these. I don't even remember what I paid for them, but it was probably $8 to $10. I got $10.88 or $11 for this sale. Happy to see it move along. Bad buy. Okay, when I got the kebab it and I got the slicer, I also got this Oster food grinder, and for $2. And what was unique about this item was there was a plastic bag with all the attachments. And when I found the grinder on the shelf, and it was a special tag color that day, I grabbed it, and then I happened to see on another shelf a bag of attachments that clearly went with the grinder. So it had gotten separated. It's frustrating when I see people do this in the store. They'll open a box, take a bunch of stuff out, leave it on the shelf, and then walk away. And so in this case, it helped me because I was able to get this grinder that someone probably would have bought at a higher price if the pieces were still together. So as it worked out, I was able to get everything. I got it for $2, sold relatively quickly for my asking of $40 plus shipping. So this didn't sell quickly. golf clubs are my love-hate thing on this channel, and I bought this Callaway club a long time ago for $10. It finally sold at $30. I dropped the price. I got $30 for it plus shipping. Glad to see it move along. I recently got this Excalibur electronic chess set. Pretty cool. All the pieces there had the instructions. They're just not worth a ton of money, unfortunately. I paid $6 for it. I was happy to get a quick $20 offer and move it along. So this one's a little sad for me. Henry Nouwen is a really great author. These books came in a huge lot of books that I bought, and I packaged up the authors together in books. And I had probably a couple of dollars into this set of books. I took an offer at $12.50 just to head it out. But our old pastor Rick Enlow, he always referred to Henry Nouwen, and I think he would say this was a great sale to move these books along to a new buyer. He would say it's better this way. Here's more juicer parts. Jack LaLanne juicer, another $2 juicer that I'm splitting up, and I finally actually sold a top lid. I think because this lid is this was a unique lid. It has a cleaner brush built into it. So as you're juicing away, you would push down on this little button and it would clean the blade while you were juicing. So a unique part. I got $13 plus shipping. This was just part of my $2 purchase. Okay, so one of the stops in our cruise, we were gone for a month, but one of our stops was Maui, Hawaii. And as luck would have it, I could walk from the port we were at to a Goodwill. So I did. And in that Goodwill, I actually met another guy who was also named Kevin and was looking at stuff. So we talked a little bit. But I found this set of anime DVDs, a box set of 5 discs. I paid $10 for this, but I wanted to see if I could buy something on our trip and resell it. And wouldn't you know, this sold days after we got back from our trip. Full price, $40 plus shipping. I paid $10. So I think, according to IRS rules, I can write off our entire month-long cruise. I believe that's the case. A while ago, several years ago, I bought a closet of clothes and shoes and things at this estate sale. Now, my daughter's been selling off the clothes. I sold off the huge lot of pantyhose for great profit. Pantyhose, just remember that as a bolo, pantyhose. In addition, there were several boxed pairs of shoes, not all new, unfortunately, but I did have 2 pairs of these fluffy Sumax slippers. This was the second pair to sell. I got my full price of $15. I don't even think I paid $15 for the whole lot of closet stuff, but glad to see just about done with that. A couple of years ago, actually, I bought online estate sale. I bought a bunch of Wonderwear cookware. It didn't turn out to be great, but it was okay. This was the last piece of the Wonderwear that I sold, and so each set, I think I had about $5 into it, and I took an offer at $25. I just wanted this to move along. It was one of those cool egg poaching cups, I think, where you had all the little teeny cups that you could poach your eggs. Egg poaching was just in demand back in the day. Okay, one more set of military strategy magazines sold from the huge lot of stuff I bought on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm still buying stuff on Facebook from the same buyer, same seller. Military magazines, military strategy games, computer games, tons of stuff. This set of 6 magazines, I took an offer at $42 plus shipping. I had basically a less than $6 into this set. Okay, here's one of those sets of cars I shouldn't have bought. I really hesitated because the price was so high. I paid $60 for this. I ended up taking an offer at $90. After fees, I'm making maybe $20. So if you're trying to learn how to become a reseller, don't do this. Do not do this. Resist the urge to buy junk like this, where you've got very little income coming in when you finally sell it. Just don't do it. Now do this. Now I don't even know how you pronounce this. Babolat tennis rackets. I scan the tennis rackets when I'm in Goodwill or other thrift stores, and you'll see, I think later you'll see another one. I look for unique names, and in this case, I had seen this name before, but the racket was broken, so I didn't even look it up. But this one, this particular racket, I paid $10 for. I had it on, I think I had listed for about $160, but I put it on sale, and I got my sale price of $119.91. And the only thing that I hate about rackets is shipping them, because there's never a box that they fit in. I had to make a box to get this shipped out. I did find another Babolat racket recently. It was worth $20. So they're not all great, but some of them can be really great. Okay, another set of speakers from that Sony box I was telling you about. Just a little corded pair of Sony speakers. I got my full $15 list price, and I got less than $1 or $2 into these. These all came at different times, but some of this stuff even came free, so very little into that. Okay, I have some typewriters, and I've sold typewriters, but I decided this one came in, and I decided I gotta list these things. So I listed this one. I got it for $2 from Goodwill, and it was really nice condition, had a case. The ink was good that was in it. Had a little crack on the cover, but not bad. I listed it. It sold relatively quickly for my full asking of $50 plus shipping. So not bad for a $2 to a $50. That's very close to my 100 times 100. So not bad. One of the more unique items I've ever sold. This was a small print type. So if you don't know what that is, that's for printing press. You have your typesets, and this typeset, very tiny, on the face of this typeset was printed in German the Lord's Prayer. Tiny, super tiny. I also have available right now, if you're interested, I have a book that has, I think it has seven different languages of the Lord's Prayer printed in the same size. So this was German, super tiny. This came from the Gutenberg Museum. I don't know where I got this from. I think it just came with some stuff because I don't remember getting it. So I wouldn't have bought it specifically. So it came pennies into this. I took an offer at $45 plus shipping. Another pennies item are these cordless phone handsets. This one didn't have a charger, so I priced it a little bit lower, and I just list the model number and let it rip. And I got my full asking of $8 plus shipping, pennies into these. So here's a great thing to look for if your Goodwill does what mine does. They will take a whole bunch of stuff and throw it in a tote and tape over the top of the tote if it doesn't have a lid. I found this huge tote of Playmobil Knights stuff. We figured out what the set was. We built whatever we could build. There were actually 2 different sets. I've already sold the other set. This was the large set, and I paid. There There was a tote and then a bag. I bought both of them. Each was $20. So I got $40 into everything. But I've already sold one set. This, I got my full price, $260, and I'm probably $20 to $30 in on this part. Awesome. Love that stuff. I just recently listed a very similar, not Playmobil, but Imaginext castle set that I got very similarly, $20 for a big tote of parts. So hoping that shows up in a what sold video soon. So I got this sealed K. Arthur study. I think this was on cassettes for $2 at a garage sale. It was in a box for years, and I finally listed it, and I got an offer of $11.68 plus shipping. I paid $2 at a garage sale for it, so happy to see that move along. Here's another mitt. I looked through my mitt bin. I got like 12 mitts. I got to get those moving, but this one moved along. I got this at a garage sale. I think about three different mitts for about $5 a piece, and I got my full $28 plus shipping price. This little Olympus camera remote came in a huge lot of other camera stuff, so pennies in, and I listed it, and eventually it sold $6 plus shipping. Okay, here's the other tennis racket. This was funny because I was at my St. Vincent de Paul, and I do look through the rackets there because occasionally you find some great stuff. And I found this racket. It was very unique looking, and it had a little pamphlet with it that had Jimmy Connors and Chris Everett hawking these rackets. So these were old. This was old. It looked brand new. And I was looking at them. I set it next to me while I was looking at more rackets, and I had decided I was going to buy it. And then I go to pick it up, and it's gone. It's not anywhere near me, and no one was around me. And I could not figure what happened. I looked all over the store for someone that might have it in their cart. I asked the store, did anyone just buy a tennis racket? No. There were a bunch of high school kids in the store. They were like sitting on a bench. And all I can think is one of them decided to play games with me, and I found it on top of a stack of something. I don't remember what it was. Luggage. Weirdly. So I did end up getting it. I paid $3.65 for this racket. I took an offer at $105. Another weird thing about this racket is, at one point, this was a Wilson Pro staff, super large, so 125 size. And at one point in time, I had a buyer reach out to me, and they just wanted the pamphlet. And their eBay name was Wilson Pro staff something. So clearly a super fan of Wilson Pro staff tennis rackets. I didn't sell it to him because I just wasn't willing to do that. Maybe I should have, because maybe the person who bought it didn't care about the pamphlet. But I got $105 for a $3.65 investment, even though I had to deal with the crazy high school kids. So that was the last item in our shortened April. We're now into May, and hoping that we return to normal sales after this kind of break in the action. And crazy sales. Looking forward to continuing on.
Okay, and we're back. Really cool sales. What did you think of that crazy Microsoft Ship It Award? Have you ever heard of one of those? Have you ever seen one? I was really blown away that it was kind of a throw-in item that was just part of a $5 estate sale purchase, and was just blown away that the amount of value in that, especially when you don't have other comps to go by necessarily, so you price it high and see what happens. And that one was purchased while we were still on the cruise. We had turned the store back on, and in fact, I think the buyer had actually reached out to me to ask about it and if they could buy it, when they could buy it. So that was a amazing find and an amazing sale. I wanted to give you one update. That Wolfgang Puck blade and stem that was undeliverable. So I ended up talking with eBay customer service, and what they had me do was call back after so many days and request that they close the case, because the buyer never responded to me. So now I've got the item, I've got the money. I'm going to reach out. I've relisted the item. I'm going to reach out to the buyer and see if we can work something out where I refund them so they can buy it again. So so far nothing, but stay tuned. If we'll update you as we go along to see if they ever respond. I've probably had 3 or 4 items that have come back undeliverable, and I would say 2 of them, the buyers never messaged me at all. The item just showed up here and never heard back from them. So one of them, I didn't even know it had come. It was just a box and got set somewhere, and it was probably a month before I even recognized that it was a returned item. So let me know if that's ever happened to you. It's puzzling. It like my old professor would say, it boogles the mind. So we're looking forward to a great May. So far, we're 10 days into May, and we have 22 sales between the 2 stores. So a little over 2 a day. And like I said, I want to get to at least 3 a day. And that 3 a day for us is, we're pretty busy with shipping and living. So we were over 3 a day, just over 3 a day when we left on vacation. So hoping to get back to that soon enough. And soon enough, we'll be talking to you again. And as I always say, join me again next time for some gelatinous. That was gelatinous. Very gelatinous.